Guys, this is going to be a quick video on a budget Titan Class Graflex that I just finished up for Eli. This guy, Eli sent me the hilt and the chassis parts and wanted me to do a Titan Class for him. And I hadn't actually worked with any of these gray material type chassis before, but these are basically less expensive budget chassis that you can get from, I think, from a few sources, but I think he got his from KR Sabers. So I think this piece he actually designed and printed himself, but this piece he ordered from KR, and this is around $50-something if you get it from Shapeways. If you get it done from Shapeways, it's a different plastic. It's a bit more flexible, and you can get it done in whatever color you like. But if you get it from KR, I think it's probably more like $25, and it's more rigid plastic. It's more hard, less flex to it, and it's in gray, I think, only. But obviously, you can always change the color if you want. But it's definitely something worth looking into for those of you guys who are trying to build a lightsaber on the cheap, on a budget, because it does, you know, it's probably half the price of what you're going to pay at Shapeways. The only real downside is they don't have every possible option out there. They have just a handful at this point. I'm sure they'll probably get more over that. Or as we go forward, I'm sure they'll probably have more of a choice, more of a selection. But and then the only other difference really is that, like I said, it's a much harder plastic, which means it's a lot more likely to chip or crack. Whereas the Shapeways plastic has a lot more flex to it. Like squeezing this right here, this barely moves. Whereas the Shapeways version of this, you can really flex this part out to get the battery in. But probably it's not a huge deal. But that's one of those things we're gonna have to wait and see over time how this plastic performs, how it holds up, because these are new. So it's not like we have a whole lot of research so far on how long these chassis will last. You know, I expect if you were to drop this enough times, it would crack. Whereas I don't think the Shapeways plastic would crack as easily, because, like I said, it's got a bit more flex to it. But that's okay. I don't think this is the kind of thing that Eli's going to be planning on dropping a lot. So let's run through it right quick. It is a Solos Hold blade holder. I think it's one of the older models. But this is something I had in stock, and I had also these two button channel covers left over from an old build that I did a couple years back, so I thought I would just include these and throw them in to kind of pretty it up for him. It's a 7/8 inch blade with a Neopixel blade connector in there, TCSS version. Then we have a proffieboard V2.2 here, and a 36mm premium bass speaker down here. This is the first thing that's a big difference about the Titan Class. If you put it side by side with the 28mm, this is a standard speaker that you'll get in most lightsabers. Not even most, some actually have smaller than this. And this is a good one. This is a wow sound speaker, so this is considered to be one of the best out there. But if you look at the two side by side, it's really, there's no comparison. Like, this guy is huge compared to this guy. It's got double the front end space. Like, the overall size of the diaphragm of the speakers, definitely I would say 100% bigger. So it does generate a lot more sound, and a lot more bass, and not a lot more treble, but that's because of the design of the speakers. But that's nice because you get a lot more volume out of these guys. Then the next thing, obviously, is the battery. Now, the way these guys work is it's two sections of chassis that are completely separate. They're just running on rails here, threaded rods, and you can slide it up to insert the battery. This guy takes a 26800. You just slide it in there and then clamp it back down and lock the nuts. That way it's locked in place and the contacts are connecting. That's a standard 18650. You see the difference in size there? I mean, that's This is more than double this battery. This is a 6,800 milliamp hour battery, 30 amp. This is a 3,000 milliamp hour battery and rated at 15 amps. It performs more like 20, but still, this is double this. So that means he's going to get double the life out of this, double the runtime, and that's nice. You know, you don't want to be changing out your battery or recharging your battery, you know, any more than you need to. So the fact that he's got that much extra battery life is great. The next thing is we did modify the chassis down here a bit so that a switch and a smaller recharge port could fit rather than the standard 2.1 millimeter round recharge port. And I guess that's about it. This guy will also take 26650 batteries, or 2170s, or 18650s. You just have to use an adapter. So if you're in a pinch, Eli, you can use those batteries too. Yeah, that's about it. Obviously, activation here, auxiliary here, and just go ahead and slide it in to the saber itself so we can fire it up, show you guys how it all works. To do that, you just want to line up the activation button with the red button here. And then just slide it up and wiggle until you see it's all nice and tight up top. The other thing to point out is that I did do the extra little details like the contacts in both of these windows. And this guy is an RGBW neopixel blade. There's something you don't want to do. You want to remember to, before you put the blade in, to put the glass eye in, otherwise the chassis will slide down inside the hilt. And the glass eye is something for you guys to keep in mind to be careful of, because it's really easy to cross thread the little threads that are on the inside of the hilt and on this glass eye and screw it on crookedly, and then if you screw it too tight, then it's going to jam in there. So the best thing you can do is put just a little bit of like white lithium grease or something like that, dielectric grease maybe, just something that will make sure that the threads have a little lubrication so that if you misthread it, it's not the end of the world. Let's see, the blade array. This is a color that I call cool. It is a really, really cool white color that kind of tends toward the blue side of the spectrum, but if you guys go and watch A New Hope, the lightsaber in that movie is not blue. It's a really cool white color. And I'm not exactly sure when blue lightsabers became a thing, but if you go back and look at the original movies, the blade was white and Vader's was red, and then maybe in Jedi the blade got green, but the blade was white originally. So it's a color that I like to try to make, and I've actually never really had a lot of success getting, but I think this is pretty good. This is another similar color, but a little more blue in it. And then this is actually blue. It's deep sky blue. It's the color this guy is. And then this is cyan. Got a purple blade. This is a pulsing cyan. And we got a yellow. A red. Fire blade. Blue Tron blade. Actually, I lied, that's a cool Tron blade. Turbine blade. Electricity blade, blue fire blade, and Sauron blade, and POV blade, and then back to the original. And that's about it for this guy. It's pretty straightforward. It's a lot like the first Titan class I did, but just much simplified and trimmed down because it's a budget build. But Eli, let me know what you think. The only thing that I'm not super thrilled with is the volume of the saber with the bottom of the Graflex hilt on. And the reason for that is that Graflexes are notoriously pretty quiet because the vent hole down here on the bottom of the hilt is underneath the cobalt clip. But when you add this additional blanking plate here to cover up the former Graflex writing, that actually muffles the sound even further. So the solution that I like to do is to do micro holes. For example, this guy's got micro holes, and they're pretty hard to see. Like, you don't notice it unless you know they're there, but all around the very edge, along the lip, all the way around, I just drilled little tiny micro holes in this guy, and that actually lets out a ton of sound, and it makes the volume so much louder. So let me know if you want me to do that, Eli. Otherwise, I'll leave it the way it is. I mean, it's certainly loud enough that you can hear it, and, you know, it's a lightsaber and it's great, but if it were me, if it were mine, I would put the micro holes in there to really get that much more volume out of it. But other than that, let me know what you think. If there's any blade colors extra you want added. All the fonts are smoothswing fonts, and the operating system is running 3.4, so everything is as up to date, state of the art as it possibly can be. And that's about it. So thank you guys for watching.